Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Society, where we gather to grow our souls, connect with one another, and embody our UU values in our lives, in our community, and in the world. I'm Roger Birchhausen, one of the ministers here. I'm joined today by my colleague, Reverend Kelly Crocker, the musical team of Drew Collins, Linda Warren, Heather Thorpe, and the AV crew of Daniel Carnes and Stephen Gregorius. We're also grateful today for the participation as chalice lighters of the Lenau family. We're so glad you're joining us this morning as we honor the turning of the year. It's been a year, and though we have not been together physically for 9 months out of the year, we are still strongly present with each other in spirit. We warmly invite you to join the coffee hour immediately after the service. You can find instructions on how to join at the end of the service and also on our homepage. I invite you now to join in a time of centering silence. Take a few breaths to come into this time of worship with focus and intentionality. Take a moment to remember that we are here together in this virtual space. We are not alone. We are together.
My friends, we have almost arrived in a new year. We are crossing the boundary of time into the next year with all its resolutions and plans ahead of us. Let us pause for just this moment before we move boldly onward. Let us pause to hear our own breathing, to feel the presence of our loved ones near and far, to know their presence in our lives. Let us pause to consider the trees, their branches stripped bare, their elegant architecture on display. Let us pause to feel the spirit of life and love that ties each to the other, that winds its way through our very bones and settles in our hearts. Before we move forward armed with resolutions that may shortly be forgotten in the day-to-day of living, let us notice what it is that remains every year, every day. What exists beyond schedules and months, beyond time. It welcomes us to life, not just at the start of a new year, but every day. And let us answer, Amen. And now please join the Lenau family as they lead us in the words of affirmation as we light our chalice.
We light our chalice and reflect on the light we need to guide us through short days
and long nights.
The light of our shared faith.
The light of loving community.
The light of love, joy, and hope. And now we will light the chalice. The chalice.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1000, Morning Has Come.
Our first story today is a bit of a silly one, and it has us looking at those times in our lives when we might do something that we later wished we hadn't. I wonder if you have ever done something like that, something which we would call later a regret. In this story, Izzy regrets the choices her family makes and what they would like her to do. One of the things I like about this story is that Izzy gets a bad feeling in her stomach every time she does something that she knows deep inside isn't the choice she really wants to be making. Our bodies can give us signals like this if we will listen. The other thing we learn from Izzy is that when we have these regrets, when we've done something we wished we hadn't, then we can try and make it right. We all have these moments, of course we do. We're human. And that is when we can stop and when we can do the deep work of repair. Now, our story is a silly one, and Izzy does some interesting things to try and make things right again. Yet there's a deeper message here about examining ourselves, listening to our own inner wisdom, and doing our best to heal or fix what we have harmed or broken. Regret isn't the end of the story. It is only the beginning. Sunnyside Lane was dark. All was silent and still, but if you looked closely, you would see hiding in a tangly tall tree a little burglar and her friend Frog. Izzy was by nature a very good girl, and Frog was a very kind frog. But as everyone knows, burglars are unkind and must do mean things. Izzy came from a family of excellent burglars. Her granny had been a famous cat burglar. Her uncle had picked pockets all across the world, and even her little cousin was a notorious bank robber. But every time Izzy took something that didn't belong to her, she got a bad feeling in her stomach that wouldn't go away. Izzy tried to tell her parents about the bad feeling, but whenever she mentioned it, they would scowl and grind their teeth and tell her she must be a good burglar. So Izzy found ways to make the funny feeling in her stomach go away. Whenever she burgled a house, she also did something nice for the family, hoping this would make it not quite so bad when they got home. But after a while, the funny feeling would come back. Then they started to make the bed and dust, wash the dishes and do the laundry, so when the family came home, some of their things would be gone, but at least they wouldn't have any chores to do. But after a while, the funny feeling would come back. So Izzy also started baking her special double chocolate brownies with gooey caramel chunks. When the family realized they had been burgled, at least they would have a nice, tidy house with no chores to do and something sweet to eat. But after a while, the funny feeling would come back. Frog suggested that while Izzy cleaned and dusted and tidied and baked, he could do some gardening, so that when the family came home, they would have been robbed, but the house would be tidy, all the chores would be done, there'd be a table of delicious desserts to eat, and there would be new plants in the yard to cheer them up. But after a while, the funny feeling would come back. So after Izzy and Frog had done all the cleaning and baking and gardening, they bathed and walked the dogs. Even though they had been burgled, when the family got home, their house would be spotless. There would be plenty of treats to eat. Their garden would have a stylish new fountain, and the dogs would be looking quite stunning. Frog was very good at giving them fancy hairstyles. But after a while, the funny feeling would come back. Izzy and Frog grew more and more tired, and Izzy's mom and dad grew more and more impatient of waiting in the getaway car. "I don't know how much longer we can keep this up, Frog," Izzy said, as she finished the family portrait she'd just painted and as Frog curled Mrs. Bumble's eyelashes. Nothing was making the funny feeling go away. And soon, Sunnyside Lane didn't seem quite as silent and still as it had once been. Izzy was sure she could hear voices in the dark, and Frog was convinced they were being watched. "They're on to us, Frog," Izzy shivered. But when they listened more closely, they were surprised at what they heard. "Lawrence won Best Dressed at the Super Duper Dog Show last week. I would love to know how they got the gravy stain out of the sofa. Make sure Granny's best silver is in clear sight. Did you leave the front door unlocked? It's our turn, Mrs. Stevens. You got robbed last week. Put the TV near the window so they can see it. I wish I had the recipe for those brownies. Shh, they'll hear us." "What's going on?" Izzy called bravely into the dark. "Will you come and rob our house?" everyone shouted. "But aren't you upset about all your missing things?" asked Izzy as the families piled out into the street. "Oh no," they all chirped. "We had far too much clutter anyway." Izzy suddenly felt very tired. "But I'm a burglar," said Izzy hopelessly, "from a long line of burglars, and burglars aren't meant to be good." Then suddenly, Izzy realized how she might be able to make the bad feeling in her stomach go away for good. And Izzy and Frog turned out to be such fantastic burglars that all of the families on Sunnyside Lane wanted them to visit. And Izzy never had that bad feeling in her stomach again. Our offering today is the final opportunity in a service to donate to First Unitarian Society's Eviction Prevention Fund through Just Dane. 100% of the offering will go to this fund. Given the fact that around 8 million more Americans have fallen below the poverty line in 2020 and the eviction moratorium is expiring, Just Dane needs the funds this year more than ever. We are pleased to announce that anonymous donors will match donations dollar for dollar up to at least $4,300. You will see the information on how to give through our website, fusmadison.org, or through the text to give option on your screen. We thank you for your generosity and for your faith in this life we create together.
Humans often depict the turning of the year as the old year dying and the new year being born. Sometimes the new year is even pictured as a baby with a diaper. These images feel especially inviting in 2020 since it's been such a challenging year. Bye-bye, old year. Sorry to see you go, but not really. Regardless of the kind of year each of us have had, half of the spiritual movement of the turning of the year is taking stock of the year that was, and to the extent we're able, letting go of some of the stuff like regrets. The other half is looking ahead with hopes and dreams for the year being born. The impulse to dream is within each of us. For some of us, it's near the surface because maybe of our personality or our relatively good fortune. For others, it's buried maybe a few layers deeper or maybe a lot of layers deeper. But I'm a universalist. I believe that the impulse to dream is universal. So in a moment, we're going to meet the happy dreamer. But as you'll see, this dreamer really isn't always happy. You'll see a moment where this dreamer feels sad, walled off from those dreams within. But even then, the happy dreamer finds a way back to dreaming. And maybe that's where hope comes in. Sometimes when things are tough, it's that still small presence of hope somewhere within that keeps us moving until we can dream again. There are lots of different kinds of dreamers in the world. In fact, I'd say there's about 7.8 billion different kinds of dreamers, meaning that each one of us dreams in a unique way. Enough of my talk, though. Let's meet the happy dreamer. I am a happy dreamer. I'm really good at dreaming daydreams, big dreams, little dreams, creative dreams. Dreamer Maximus. Sometimes the world tells me, be still, be quiet, pay attention, focus. But my dreams have a mind of their own. Sometimes my mind just takes flight. I hear a beat and I gotta move, then I hear another and another. Wish you could hear inside my head, trumpety, zigzag jazz. Sometimes I'm a quiet dreamer. When I make time to stay still and hear myself think, to let go and see what takes shape. Do you see that? Sometimes I'm a swing high dreamer, way up high beyond the clouds, so high I can touch the sky. I can also be a loud dreamer. Hello, world! I'm a shout at the top of my lungs dreamer, even if I'm just a loud inside my head dreamer. Sometimes I'm a colorful dreamer, painting my own path full of surprises at every turn. I can dream even when the lights are out. All circuits on, fireworks, I light up, I'm all ears, eyes, heart, and mind. I have so many dreams that it can get messy, creative chaos. Cleaning up hides my treasures. If you make me, I will put my things away, but then there is just less me to show. There are moments I feel alone, boxed in. And yet, I always find a way back, plunging into amazing, delightful, happy dreams. I'm really good at being me, a dreamer, surprising, caring, funny, gentle, smart, and then I tumble back to earth. I know I'm okay. Dreamers have a way of bouncing back and moving forward. There are so many ways to be a happy dreamer. What kind of a dreamer are you? And just a few of the ways on these pages. The kind of dreamer that's kindness happy, that's foot-stomping happy, that's a power dreamer, a secret dreamer, a hard work happy, laugh happy dreamer, a goal dreamer, a daydreamer, a giant dreamer. All these ways to be a dreamer.
The new year calls us forward, filled with mystery. As we turn toward that new year, we take a final glimpse at this past year and reckon with all that it held for us, all the life and all the loss, while looking forward with a great deal of hope for what is to come.
If you would like to participate with us at home, please find a piece of paper, a candle, and a fire-safe bowl or plate. We invite you now into a time of reflection to consider this year that has been.
In this year of challenge and great loss, we know that you may be holding many regrets. Regrets such as not being able to help loved ones who battle addictions of all kinds. The loss of lifelong friends to illnesses, including the many who have died from COVID-19. Not being able to celebrate anniversaries and birthdays and share our joy with those we love. Canceling long-awaited vacations, hugs, and being together here in this sacred space. Not being able to welcome loved ones into our homes. As you settle into this time together, becoming present in your body and allowing your spirit to settle, breathe with us and feel the movement of your precious breath.
What parts of your life, what things, ideas, people, ways of living have become obstacles to your becoming the person you want to be? What is keeping you from becoming the person you need to be? What's holding you back? What's getting in the way of you living as fully as you'd like to? What might you burn away? What will you relinquish? Write a word or two on your paper. Nobody will see it except you, the flame, and the universe. When you are ready, light your paper safely and place it into the bowl or on your plate. And we will now burn the regrets that you sent in to us.
Across millennia, human beings have lit lamps or torches or candles in religious rituals. Are they prayers? Are they remembrances? Are they unspoken hopes and desires? Whatever their meaning, the lighting of candles captivates us still. Barbara Kingsolver wrote, "The very least you can do in your life is to figure out what you hope for, and the most you can do is live inside that hope. Not admire it from a distance, but live right in it, under its roof." We hope you are finding a way to hold that kind of hope in your heart as we enter into a new year. It may be hope for a vaccine, a hope for physical presence in our lives once again, hope for a return to civility and sanity in public life, hope for our children to be healthy and safe, of finding new ways to give and share all that we can, and imagine ways of creating communities of comfort, safety, and support. Perhaps you are hoping for love, for joy, for magic and mystery to be born again within you. As Roger and I light candles for the hopes that were sent into us for this coming year, we invite you to light a candle at your home and send your hopes into this time together.
If the past year held joy and growth for you, may that sweetness continue to bless you. If the past year held pain and bitterness, may you be relieved of those burdens and renewed for the journey ahead. Let us look into the new year with hope, with curiosity about its many unknowns, and with faith in our strength to navigate it with grace and peace, together in community and together in love. Though not physically together, we continue to support one another through joys and sorrows and the seasons of our lives. That's what a spiritual community does. And so we are reminded over and over again, we are not alone. Today, we light a candle for Ann Schaefer and Paula Bonner, whose sister Sue Farnham died suddenly and unexpectedly on December 15. We hold Sue's husband and daughter and sisters in our hearts and in our prayers. We light a second candle for the Kepke family, who are feeling deep gratitude for the recovery from COVID of Cindy's 89-year-old father. And finally, we light a candle for all those who are struggling during this difficult time. Let's share in a moment of silence together. Amen.
sing with us hymn number 350, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time.
The ceaseless flow of endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll view the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past, and dream alike melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be our new year vow.
In this new year, let us be amazed. Let us search for new life and hope in our midst. Let us nurture creativity in every form. Let us be reminded that new insights of the universe are always being made. In this new year, let us be amazed. Blessed be, and go in peace.